Welcome to Pack Notes, a backpacking podcast hosted by me, a non-backpacker. At least not yet. Hi, my name's Becky, and I'm wanting to get into backpacking. Have I been backpacking before? Technically, yes, but it was probably over 15 years ago when I was in college. I did go on a 3-day, 2-night excursion somewhere in about the southeastern Wisconsin region of the Ice Age Trail. And I don't remember a damn thing. I don't even know what kind of gear I used. I barely remember anything other than a few snippets of memory. So I honestly couldn't tell you if I liked it or not. However, people tell me if I don't remember it, chances are that my brain is blocking out not so happy memories. So who knows what I'm getting myself into. But I'm wanting to start backpacking. A dream of mine is to become a triple crowner, to do every major long trail in America, the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and Continental Divide Trail. Yes, there are plenty of other long trails out there, Colorado Trail, Arizona Trail, etc. But the big three is definitely something that I'm interested in. However, I'm basically starting from the bottom. So I've been doing tons and tons of research and figuring out what kind of gear do I need, how do I kind of set up going on a long trail or even just a short backpacking trip somewhere. And as I was gathering all this information and storing it away, I figured that I would share it with others who are interested in starting up backpacking and don't know where to start. Am I experienced? Absolutely not. Hence, I just said I'm not a backpacker. So there are definitely way better podcasts out there with way more experienced people. Between the host and the guests that they have on there, you will get a lot of information out of them. But this podcast is a little different in the fact that I want just basic spark note information regarding backpacking. Every episode is going to cover a different topic, whether that's just basic things to know about backpacking. I am from Wisconsin, but dang, my accent isn't that bad. Basic information about backpacking, which I hope to cover in episode 2, or do we want to call that episode 1? This is just an intro. But in the next episode that I hope to also upload around the same time as this one, I'm just going to cover the basic information of backpacking that I've found so far. And then cover other major topics in an episode, such as different types of shelters, different types of sleep systems, what to pack to eat on trail, how you can train to, if you want to train to start backpacking. All sorts of different things that I can cover in different episodes. So that's kind of the breakdown of what this podcast, at least what I would hope for this podcast to be. Just somewhere that my listeners can go and pick up the basic information they need rather than trying to hunt for it through somebody's story or through watching a very lengthy YouTube video. Basically, Spark Notes version of backpacking, and hence Pack Notes, this podcast. Again, I'm not experienced. I'm not a professional. I'm basically sharing the information that I've found. And I will admit, it may not be 100% complete or even accurate in some cases. I will point out a couple backpacking podcasts that I really do enjoy listening to if you're interested in finding other podcasts to listen to. The first one that I found was Backpacking Light, and they do cover different topics in every episode, which is really interesting. However, it was a little bit too niche. It was a little bit, all right, we're going to cover down the material, the natural material you can find in puffy jackets. I don't want to go that in depth. Again, Spark Notes version. And then the other one that I found that I really, really enjoy is Backpacker Radio. If you haven't heard of Backpacker Radio, I highly suggest you go check them out. Zach and Chance are just amazing, and they're so entertaining, and they have such amazing guests on here. A ton of thru hikers that have been on all of the major trails, and hikers that have been all over the world. Such a cool podcast. So definitely check that out. However, they're more catered to thru hikers, and their dynamic is interviewing them. So I did get quite a bit of information out of the episodes that I've listened to so far. But again, when you're just listening to somebody's experience, you're not exactly, it's not really preparing you completely for a backpacking trip or a thru hike. It's just they're just giving you their experience, and you kind of take bits and pieces that pertain to you, perhaps. So I'm hoping to do something a little different. Now, is this the only podcast like this? I have no idea. Quick Google search tells me Maybe. But if you found this, stick around, see if it does anything for you. If you are a backpacker that has experience backpacking and you'd like to share any form of tips, advice, things like that, please feel free to contact me. You can email me at packnotespod@gmail.com. If you're listening to this podcast, you can also watch this podcast at youtube.com at packnotespod. If you're watching me on YouTube, you can definitely download this, hopefully on Spotify and other places you can find podcasts. And then, if you get anything out of these episodes that you think other people can benefit from, I would love a review just to kind of get this podcast out there and get it started and just see where it goes. If you aren't a backpacker, but you have very specific questions, you can email me as well and ask those questions, and I will definitely try to work with you and do some research and see if I can't answer that for you, or connect you with somebody else that might have that information. Now, you may be asking, why exactly do I want to start backpacking? Well, just like anybody that might want to start backpacking, I love the outdoors. I love being a little bit active. Backpacking is a lot active, but for me, I can hike for quite a while versus I hate running. I have to run though to train, but it's not my favorite. I would much rather be hiking 20 miles a day than running for 2. That might be an exaggeration, but hiking is just more my speed, my style. You get to go out into nature and just see some beautiful things you can't get in the middle of the city like where I live. And to live simply just seems so fascinating, even if for a short time. That's why thru hiking is really exciting for me, because you live simply for a long period of time. And I think an experience like that would kind of rewire my brain. I'm looking at the space that I'm recording in right now, and I have shelves just full of stuff, books, knickknacks, things that I just, for some reason, am holding on to that I feel awful throwing away for one reason or another. And do I need anything that I'm staring at? Absolutely not. And I know going on a long thru hike where you're only carrying the basic stuff you need is really going to rewire my brain and really help me understand what's essential in life. So I'm also attracted to that. Obviously, as I'm noticing that, do I need any of this stuff? No. But it's just, it's still so hard. It's still so hard sometimes to give stuff up, but because the second I throw it away, I know I'm going to need it, right? For one thing or another. I'm looking at my Cricut machine. How many times have I used it? Maybe 3, 4 times. I do have projects in my head. I know I'm going to need it in the near future for just one project, but do I need it? Could I maybe borrow it from somebody else and work on these projects? Sure, but I still have one. And it's sitting there, just like the various other things in this room, including this podcast. Do I need the computer that I'm recording on? Do I need the microphone that I'm talking into? No. I could easily probably do a podcast on my phone, but here we are. So doing a thru hike would just be so fascinating and such a unique experience that, again, other people have experienced, but everybody experiences something different. And it speaks to me in just a different way other than anything else I've ever kind of briefly obsessed over. So if this interests you, if you want to see and follow along with my journey and what I plan to do, hopefully in the not so distant future, and things that I look into for planning my own possible thru hike in the future, stick around, connect with me. I may or may not start an Instagram. I may or may not start a TikTok, but I would love to connect with fellow outdoor lovers like me that are looking to connect with nature and get out there and hike and backpack and all of the things. So again, my name is Becky. I'll be your host through this podcast, Pack Notes, all about backpacking for now. And yes, I'm awkward, and this will be very, very interesting. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.